Welcome everybody. ETV Live presents another round in the USTRA Triple Crown Series. Tonight we are bringing you tour modified action from the Thompson Motor Speedway in Connecticut. I am Justin Rosenau. I'd like to bring in my broadcast partners for tonight. Evan Pasoko is going to be in the booth with me and down on pit road tonight for any possible pit stops. The promoter of this wonderful series, Eddie Walczyk. Evan, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good. It's a great night for some short track racing. You mentioned we're back again. It's the tour mods. I just love seeing these things race. 600 horsepower. These things are fun, and it's another short track similar to Martinsville. I'm looking for some good racing. Taking a look at the entries, we do have around 11 or 12 drivers, I do believe, in this session, so it should be a good one.
And I'd also like to bring in the promoter for tonight's event, Eddie Walczyk. Eddie, how are you?
Doing good. This is the home of the modified tonight, so I'm pretty excited to see how this plays out, especially given the configuration. So I'm pretty excited for this race tonight.
Now, Evan, we only have about 30 seconds here before we start gridding these cars up. Why don't you give us the points, at least the top 5 here for the Tour Modifieds as we're getting ready to go green here at Thompson.
And definitely the points leader right now, Nathan Saxon, 852 championship points, second place in the points. Jordan Dow with 713, third place. Michael Morrison with 693 points, rather. Fourth place, Gerald John with 677, and round out the top 5, it is Clifton Cockrell with 632 points.
Thanks for that, Evan. I want to point out to you folks watching tonight, the Tour Modifieds, this is their home track. These cars were conceived and developed here over the years, and many great stars have had the pleasure of running here, especially being the marquee track for these cars here in the Northeast. As we're getting ready to go to gridding here, Evan, what are your thoughts on what we might be able to see tonight before we run down the grid?
I mean, Eddie touched on it. It's such a unique track configuration, almost like a paper clip. Maybe a little bit wider corners, really not a lot of banking, and with a bunch of hungry drivers. And we're seeing drivers in this race that are up there in the points. I'm looking for some good, hard, clean action all night long.
Definitely. Now we're going to start running down your starting lineup here. On the pole for tonight is going to be your points leader, Nathan Saxon, in the 2 car. And starting outside of him, he's not on the grid yet, the number 9 of Samuel Dick.
Inside row number 2 in the 3rd spot is going to be the number 8 of Gerald John. Outside of him, Michael Morrison.
Inside row number 3 is going to be the 10 car, Gary Holbrook, and starting outside of him in the number 3 car in the 6th spot, Joshua Hahn.
Row number 4 on the inside, the 7th starting position is going to be the number 1 of Vinny Sansone, starting 8th, the number 12 of Jordan Drew.
Inside row number 5 is going to be the number 11 of Ray Farlow. He's one of the guys we're going to look out for tonight as he's running all 3 series in the Triple Crown. And starting outside of him, another familiar face of this car, the number 7 of Clifton Cockrell.
And definitely row number 6 on the inside, starting in the 11th spot. It is the number 6 of TJ Graves. He was the last car to take time in tonight's event. Then starting 12th is the number 4 of Mike Littlefield.
Rounding out the field, scheduled to start. Don't know if he's in the server or not, but it's going to be the number 13 of Parker Traves. Parker Traves running shotgun here as the pace car is going to go around one more time when we fire these cars off. Be sending about 6,500 horsepower off into turn 1 here as we drop the green flag here in just a moment. Evan, I gotta say, I hope we have another race as good as what we had at Martinsville, but without all the carnage.
And we have some familiar names up here up front, so I'm looking at these guys are going to be real patient. I mean, it is a really short racetrack at 0.63 miles long, but with 90 laps, the drivers are going to be able to know that they can get stuff done as the night progresses. And you mentioned it's a great configuration for the racetrack, so I'm expecting these guys to be smart about it, but definitely race each other hard and clean all night long.
Pace car dips off. Nathan Saxon on the hammer, green flag here at Thompson Motor Speedway. Saxon jumps out to the lead. Samuel Dick falls in line. The preferred line here is on the outside. Looks like we're single file here to the top 5 as we start moving back through the field. First battle you're going to see on the racetrack is for 7th spot, the number 1 of Vinny Sansone. Underneath the 12 of Jordan Dow. Vinny Sansone's caught up in a lane he doesn't want to be in. Again, the preferred line around here is around the top.
And definitely, I saw the number 10 of Gary Holbrook lose a 5th position from the 3 of Joshua Hahn on that restart because he got stuck on the bottom. I'm now taking a look. 7th place, the 12 of Jordan Dow took a look maybe to the inside of that 10 of Holbrook, but he knows that's not the preferred line, so he'll stay single file up top for now.
Again, watching some of these guys back in the pack, like Ray Farlow in the 11 car. He's running 9th right now. Just put a slide job on the 7 of Clifton Cockrell for that 9th spot, and Cockrell's fighting back, looking to the inside, going into turn number 1. Cockrell's going to try to push Ray up there. Is Ray Farlow? He's a little bit loose, gives the spot to Cockrell, but tries to cross under him. Doesn't look like he has quite the car to do that here tonight.
And definitely such a tough thing to do at this racetrack. Already 5 laps in the book. Taking a look, leader right now, Nathan Saxon, pulling away from the field in that number 2. Last time by the stripe, he had a lead of 9/10 of a second, and he's progressively increased that by a 10th per lap. Second place still is the 9 of Samuel Dick, who started in that position, and he's still the 8 of Gerald John, not too far behind Dick, sitting in 3rd.
Definitely, it's starting to look like the Nathan Saxon show again here in the Tour Modifieds. Saxon has been the driver to beat in everything involving a modified that I've seen here in the iRacing service. Saxon is basically the modified equivalent of what we've seen last week here on ETV Live, watching the sprint cars at Milwaukee last week. Alan Bender dominated that show, and Nathan Saxon, again, he is the guy to beat, and he doesn't lose very often. So look for Nathan Saxon to hopefully make a mistake and make this race a little bit interesting. But I do see that on the racetrack here, the 8 of Gerald John in the 3rd spot, he is slowly creeping up on the number 9 of Samuel Dick for the 2nd spot. As they're almost bumper to bumper in 3 and 4, coming out of 4. They're both charging hard out of 4. Samuel Dick still going to be there, but Gerald John creeping in right up on that back bumper.
And if you ignore Nathan Saxon out front, really everybody else in the field is not spread out too far. You mentioned John right on the back bumper of Dick there. That's a battle for the 2nd spot. You got the 5 of Michael Morrison sitting in the 4th spot. He's taking a look, and then you have Joshua Hand. Jordan Dow is really the jump, so there's a little bit of a gap between 5th and 6th. And then once you get back to 7th, again, a whole bunch more drivers, including the 11 of Farlow, the 7 of Cockrell. I mean, you got the 4 of Littlefield in there, the 13 of Traves and TJ Gray. So those back 5 cars right now are only about a car length off each other.
A little bit further ahead for the 7th spot, the number 10 of Gary Holbrook, he's in the 8th spot, is trying to run down the guy in the 7th spot. That's the points leader in the Silver Crowns, number 1 of Vinny Sansone. Sansone, what a wonderful racer he is. He is fast in just about everything he runs, and I'm telling you, with the Triple Crown Series, with all the money on the line for winning all 3 series, Sansone definitely still has a shot, but he doesn't have a whole lot of time to do it here as we're clicking laps off at under 19 seconds a lap. That's over 3 laps a minute, Evan, and we're already over 11 laps in the books, completing lap 12, so we're inside 80 laps to go already.
Yeah, and definitely, I mean, I'm taking a look at the lap times. Nathan Saxon right now sitting up front. He's running consistently about a 10th faster than everybody else. Really nobody in his ballpark. We still have about 80 or 76, 77 laps to go at this point in the race. So stuff can happen definitely with that 2 car, and especially if we were to see a caution, we may see some drivers come down to pit road, depending on when that falls and what kind of situation it's in, to try to change up their race cars. But definitely at the moment, Nathan Saxon out front, and he has a dominant car so far, as he's now at a 1.7 second lead at this point.
Battle is on for the 3rd spot. The number 8 of Gerald John falls off the rear bumper. The 9 of Samuel Dick in 2nd. The 5 of Michael Morrison and Joshua Hahn in the 5th spot in the 3 car. These guys are all looking nose to tail as they're gaining a little bit on each other going through these corners here. All it takes is just one slight mistake to get around somebody, but you got to make that person make the mistake here to get around them. Thompson is such a fine groove racetrack, Evan. It's going to be really tough for these guys to get around each other.
And definitely, let's bring Eddie back into discussion. Eddie, can you talk to us a little bit about the strategy here, that the kind of mentality that the driver has to take into a short track race that's 90 laps here?
Well, with these cars, there's a pit strategy involved. If this thing goes green all the way, which is kind of an uncommon thing, you'll see guys, just deal with the cars they are, and everyone's going to be on an even playing field. But if we get a yellow at any point here near the halfway point, guys are going to be pitting. They're going to be looking to take tires. This old track here does eat up tires a little bit, and you're starting to see a little racing there mid-pack because these guys' tires are starting to fall off. Matter of fact, Mike Littlefield, he's beating and banging there the number 10 car, trying to make that pass. He's been working on him here for probably 5 or 6 laps, so I think you're going to start to see some of these tires fall off and guys starting to push the issue to make these passes.
Definitely is. The for Littlefield slow on the bottom, was out front as they crossed the stripe. Gary Holbrook dove into turn 1 really, really hard and got right back around the 4 of Mike Littlefield. Littlefield elected not to qualify, and that's hurting him as he's trying to race his way through the pack. And pit strategy is going to be the only thing that's probably going to get him up front, as he's over 10 seconds behind your leader, Nathan Saxon. But the 4 of Littlefield runs right up to the back bumper of Holbrook again, and Holbrook just holding his line. Not much Littlefield can do except try to get a run on the low side as they're side by side going into 1.
Can't make it stick, falling back on the bottom. Watch out for the 9, or the 6 rather. I'm looking at these numbers all upside down. TJ Graves almost got to the outside there. Littlefield in 1 and 2 couldn't quite get it done. And that's why the 4 is still sitting there in that 9 spot. And you really have no chance on that bottom unless you pull a slide job, and that's a very difficult move to make. So you almost have to try to force the issue and get right back up on the back bumper of the car in front of you and make them make a mistake, maybe peek to the inside and try to convince them that you're there, and then take a step to the outside, and then you'll have the preferred line and easily make that pass. But right now, these guys at the back are not giving an inch on each other, and they're still going hard for it.
Definitely Holbrook not being able to hold the line that he wants as Littlefield's there. Got the back bumper to him, just could not get the run coming out of 2. Holbrook hits the little crater there in 3 and 4. He runs up the racetrack. Littlefield on the low side, but Graves is right there to pressure Littlefield, forcing Littlefield to back off. Oh, trouble, the 10. Holbrook up in the wall, loses 2 spots, maybe 3. We'll see what happens here as this shakes out here. Definitely the mistake that Mike Littlefield was hoping that Gary would make.
And that 10 just lost 3 spots, 4, now 5, as also another car getting around him is going to be the 13 of Parker Traves. That's going to put that 10 to the back of the field, and it looks like he may have done some damage to the car. It's slightly off the pace. I'm going to take a look back at the replay and really see what happens. It looks like going to go on his onboard, going into turn number 1. Looks like he just got in there a little bit hot, and he barely scraped that wall. But with these open suspension race cars, that could do such minor damage to a car, and it's really not affecting it majorly, but he is definitely off the pace and does not have the speed to be competitive at this point.
Definitely. Everybody is pretty much single file on the racetrack except for the battle for the 3rd spot inside. Mike Morrison drifts up, cannot hold the line. Gerald John powers back around him to the outside. Joshua Hahn taking advantage of the mistake. He's to the outside of the 5 of Mike Morrison. Move Joshua Hahn up to the 4th spot.
Continuing to battle down the back straightaway, let's take another update on your leader, Nathan Saxon, 2.4 seconds ahead of Samuel Dick. Keep in mind, 29 laps into this thing, so we're approaching lap 30, which will be the 1/3 of the way through this race with 18-second laps. The guys at the back of the pack are 14 seconds off, so we could see some drivers going a lap down here in not too long, and that will also present a challenge for Saxon, assuming that maybe some of those lap cars get caught up high. He'll have to make that pass on the bottom, and he could lose some time, so it's going to be interesting to see how that 2 negotiates lap traffic.
Definitely. The man on the move is in the 4th spot. Josh Hahn, he's slowly reeling in your 3rd place car, Gerald John. Hahn made definitely took the biggest advantage out of the mistake that Mike Morrison did, pinching himself off on the bottom. Again, this is not your normal racetrack here, with it being a paperclip style and with it being high bank. Evan, I'm telling you, the line is on the high side, and we definitely see what can happen if you try to use that bottom side to make a pass here.
And definitely, we also saw how easy it is to make a mistake. Again, the 10 Gary Holbrook has gotten in there a little bit too hot, and he got out of the groove into the wall and lost 5 spots. And is now the last car on the lead lap, and is actually in danger of going a lap down from Nathan Saxon in not too long here. Keep an eye on the 2 car. He is just about half a straightaway away from that 10 and closing fast, so Gary Holbrook about to lose his lap.
Definitely, Nathan Saxon is just gone. He's running 18.6-second laps. I'm telling you, Saxon, he goes to the inside. Holbrook not really going to give him too much trouble. He's just going to let the leader go. Very respectful racing there out of Gary after making that mistake going into turn 1. Nathan Saxon just put another, a big obstacle for the 9 of Samuel Dick and 8 of Gerald John. barring a caution, Saxon's just gone.
And definitely, I mean, he continues to slowly pull away. I mean, once we got about 5 laps into this thing, he had about a second lead. Now it's at 2.5. I'm taking a look, continuous looking at the lap times and trying to see what everybody's line is. The really only difference is maybe Saxon can get back to the gas a little bit sooner, and that's why he's just about a tick quicker than all those other drivers, but definitely the dominant car up front. And it's basically his to lose at this point, unless we do have that caution flag.
Battle heating up at the front of the field for the second, third, and fourth spot. The number 3 in the fourth spot, that's Josh Hahn. He was just right up on the back bumper, and again, closes within a car length of the 8 of Gerald John. Gerald John losing a little bit of drive coming out of the corner, and Josh Hahn giving it all he can. I just saw him a lap or two ago. He was sideways coming out of turn 2, trying to do everything he can as he looks low, not going to get it done, falls back in line, going into 3. They're tucked right up on each other, nose to tail. Joshua Hahn, looks to the outside again, not going to get it done. Just not a whole lot of room here with the preferred line being on the high side, Evan.
And you really can't take that much of a chance going in for that move, because if you try to throw it down in the area side, maybe you can believe that maybe you might get the run and then challenge for him by trying to put a slide job in turns 1 or 3. If you can't get that done, then those guys right behind you are going to pounce on the opportunity, because all these guys, again, are about 1 or 2 car lengths away from each other in this battle from second position to about 5th. So you really have to be conservative here as the 3 gets real close to the back bumper, that 8 again off 4.
Definitely Josh Hahn charging hard here as we're nearing the halfway stage of this race. 90 laps on the board. We're fixing to complete lap number 40. That'd be 50 laps to go. Josh Hahn running right up within a car length of the 8 of Gerald John. Gerald John holding his line. Josh Hahn trying everything he can do. He runs a little bit higher in 3 and 4, not getting it done. Time will only tell here as the tires will fall off here if we stay green here coming up halftime in a couple laps.
And definitely, it's so entertaining. Keep watching this battle for 3rd spot. I mean, the 3 of Joshua Hahn may have a faster race car than that 8 of Gerald John possibly, but he's just searching all over the racetrack, trying to figure out how he can get it done. Again, Nathan Saxon still out front, currently 1 car a lap down at this point. The next person to lose that would be Clifton Cockrell in the 7 car, 17 seconds back, who started in the 10th spot. He did qualify, so interesting to note, Mike Littlefield, who started back in 12th, is actually sitting 8th right now in a fairly comfortable position. But this shows you how much the qualifying really is an importance at these short tracks that can really make it a lot easier.
Nathan Saxon just crossed 3 seconds out, completing lap 44 this time by. He's running up to the back end of the lead lap there. Clifton Cockrell, he's fixing to go a lap down here. Just another moment here. We're going to do a full field rundown here as Nathan Saxon comes around next time by. Nothing's really changing on the racetrack. Everybody's single filed, although the only battle on the racetrack is for 3rd and 4th. Josh Hahn still trying everything he can do to get around the 8 of Gerald John. Saxon runs around the stripe this time by. That's halfway, folks. Here's your full field rundown. Obviously out front, the number 2 car of Nathan Saxon. In the 2nd spot is going to be the 9 car of Sam Bick. And in the 3rd spot, the battle we've been highlighting now for some time, is the 8 of Gerald John. In the 4th spot is going to be the 3 car of Joshua Hahn. Rounding out your top 5 is going to be Michael Morrison. Evan, you want to take us down through 6 through 10?
And definitely 6th position right now is the 12 of Jordan Dow. Another great driver sitting in the 7th spot. The number 1, Vinny Sansone. Not too strong tonight, but definitely a solid run going on right now. 8th place is the 4 of Mike Littlefield. Sitting in 9th is the number 6 of TJ Graves. In 10th position, the 11 of Ray Farlow.
Rounding out your field is going to be the 13 of Parker Trey's, last car on the lead lap, only a couple seconds away from going a lap down. And the first car 1 lap down is going to be the 7 of Clifton Cockrell. And rounding out tonight's field, incident in turn 1's definitely hurt him. He's 3 laps down as Gary Holbrook.
Contact for Mike Littlefield. Contact with the 1, Vinny Sansone. And if they didn't make contact, they were pretty damn close to each other there in 3 and 4. The 4 went to the bottom of that 1 of Vinny Sansone. That's going to put the 4 in the 7th spot. Vinny Sansone sitting in 8th at the moment.
I am hearing they did make contact as the TJ Graves, he runs right up on the back bumper of Vinny Sansone. Sansone cannot be happy with the way Littlefield treated him there. Graves is right there, nose to tail. Sansone loose. To the inside is TJ Graves. Graves cannot get it done going into the corner. Sansone drifts up. They're side by side off of 4.
And it's tough for that one of Sansone because he wants to focus on getting back to that 4 Littlefield, but with this 6 car of TJ Graves sitting on the bottom of the racetrack, he really can't do that. The 6 just can't get it to stick there in 1 and 2. Sansone's going to lead into turn 3 by about 2 car lengths, but look for that 6 of Graves to try to make another run, but I can guarantee that Vinny Sansone did not appreciate that move from the 4 Mike Littlefield.
Most definitely. Here is we're inside 40 laps to go. Not a whole lot has changed, but although I have noticed that the gap has dropped dramatically. We're down to 2 seconds between your leader Nathan Saxon and second place Samuel Dick. I don't know if Saxon's just saving his tires, but Saxon may be off the pace.
He had an issue lap 46 and 47. I'm taking a look back at the lap times of Nathan Saxon. Something happened on lap 46 possibly, which also affected his lap time of 47, but he was almost a second off of his pace on 46. So that may be why he did lose, a whole second on that distance from the second place car. So Nathan Saxon possibly having some issues earlier on, but he's still on the racetrack, no damage to the car it would appear, and he's still going as your leader.
Nathan Saxon puts the 11 of Ray Farlow a lap down. Farlow is actually going to fall back to the 11th spot, just 1 spot outside the top 10, as Farlow was just trying to give way to the leader. Although Parker Trey seems to be holding the leader as much as he can, trying to prevent Ray Farlow from getting back around him. Don't know how long these guys can keep waiting here as Saxon's running 19-second laps. I don't know if Sam Dick and the other guys can take advantage of this.
Well, he's already gained 5/10 from everything he lost there. Another quick update, that battle for the 8th spot now. Vinny Sansone after getting moved by Mike Littlefield, so to speak. Whoa, the TJ Graves in the 6th throws it in there in turn number 3. He really wants that spot from Vinny Sansone. He gets in the wall again off 4. He made contact 2 laps ago, so this 6 of Graves is determined to get around that 1 of Sansone, and he's really going for it here down the backstretch.
Definitely battle heating up here. One of the only battles on the racetrack here tonight as TJ Graves throws it in there deep coming off a 4, almost gets into the wall again. Sansone just driving a defensive line. We'll have to see as Graves looks to the inside again off a 2. Not going to get it done. Time is running out. We're almost up, coming up on 30 laps to go, Evan.
And they're really throwing these cars into the corner, way up the track. The 6, again, TJ Graves in the wall. He's caught that wall off 4 at least the last 3 or 4 laps, trying to get around the 1 of Sansone. And I'm taking a look. That 6 is really throwing it in there to the corner. You see it there in 3. Just really trying to get anything he can on that 1 car, but he is throwing that car in real hard, maybe over driving it a bit. However, he did make up some time on Sansone this last lap, and he's about half a car length off his back bumper. Looking to the inside off 2, can't get it for now.
Position change on the racetrack. Guy running, battling hard. He's got suspension damage. We did not catch it. Got in the wall. The 3 of Josh Hahn. He was in the 4 spot, battling for the 3rd spot, and he just got passed by Mike Littlefield for the 6th spot. Moved Josh Hahn back to the 7th spot, and Littlefield up to the 6th spot. Littlefield, he's got 3 seconds to go before he gets to the next guy on the racetrack. He's going to need a caution if he's going to break into the top 5.
Definitely a tough break for that number 3 team. Taking a look, he's about 2/10 off the pace, so again, really not a lot of damage, but definitely slightly affecting his race car, or he just has to get back in a rhythm, try to get those lap times again. Again, the 6, TJ Graves in the wall again off 2, nearly got it there off 4. Still determined to get this 8th spot, I guess, but TJ Graves not giving up anytime soon.
TJ Graves, one of the most determined racers you'll ever see in the modified class, but hanging tough at the front of the field. Samuel Dick, he's run that gap back down to 2 seconds, and there's clear track between him and the leader, Nathan Saxon. And I'm telling you, Samuel Dick is slowly running down the leader.
Another update, also the car sitting in the 4th position. The 8, Gerald John, is wicked loose last time around the racetrack. Taking a look right now, he's been working his way around the lap car, being the number 11 of Ray Farlow, but definitely got a little bit sideways there a lap or so ago, but he looks to be back on track at this moment.
Catching reports from pit road that the 8 of Gerald John is very, very sideways, and definitely he's fallen over a second back from Mike Morrison, who's gotten around him. And again, a little bit of wiggle coming out of 2 there. Gerald John losing the handle on his race car in the late stages of this race.
And definitely, again, Nathan Saxon, he worked his gap back up a lot. After he went down to 2 seconds, he worked it back up to 2.5, but he can't pull away now. Samuel Dick closing in by 0.5 of a second. I'm taking a look. Nathan Saxon, there's no real major change in 1 lap time, so maybe Samuel Dick is going to get a shot at this, but there's not a lot of laps left. We're going to come by the stripe this time by. Saxon is going to take 23 to go.
Definitely working the late stages of the race. Catching a report that TJ Graves is, with all the incidences getting in the wall, he's losing the handle on his race car. TJ Graves in the 9th spot was running on the back of the 1 car of Vinny Sansone. Sansone pulling out over a half-second gap now on TJ Graves. Graves is just really using everything he can in that race car, and he's got to have used all that car up, Evan.
And definitely another 0.2 loss there by Saxon. Dick continuing to close, but he may be out of time. 20 laps to go this time by the stripe. Out of the 13 drivers that started this race, 9 of them still battle on the lead lap at this point. And again, EJ Graves still not giving up on that 8th spot. I keep taking a look to make sure there's still a single file at this point. Sansone's been consistently having about a car length lead over that 6, but just another thing to keep an eye on the racetrack. These guys are battling for the second to last spot on the lead lap, 8th and 9th place, 14 seconds right now off the leader, and if they continue to battle each other hard, they could lose a lap possibly as things continue to wind down here at Thompson.
Car on pit road. It's the 11 of Ray Farlow. Eddie Walchuk, what you see?
Yeah, these guys are they're suffering from the abuse of this race. Those guys that were in the back of the pack there and making their way up through, I think maybe what they were thinking is that the carnage that we had back in Martinsville. They thought they might have saw a little of that, and they didn't. They either poorly qualified or didn't take time, and these guys are just suffering the consequences of racing up through there, and I'm pretty sure they might be done for the night here.
Definitely. Late stages of the race, 20 laps to go here. Inside of that, almost 15 laps to go. Coming up on 16 to go this time by Nathan Saxon, keeping that lead steady at 1 3/4 seconds. Only a caution is going to make this race interesting up front here, as I believe Samuel Dick is going to run out of time. Everybody else is well separated except for the battle for the 8th spot. Again, the person just really trying to give everything he can out of that race car, and got to commend him for his efforts. The 6 of TJ Graves is still hanging tough, battling back up to the back bumper of Sansone every now and then. We'll have to see if that effort will turn into a pass.
Keep an eye on the 11 car, Ray Farlow, who is just down pit road, slow on the racetrack, really has nothing to happen, and that's because on lap 68, he pounded the outside wall in turn number 4. That's why he had to come down pit road. They tried to get some repairs done on it, and they got enough on it so that he will meet minimum speed for the time being, but he could be an obstacle there on the bottom if someone goes too wide, and he's going to come back down pit road.
11 is back on the pit road, not satisfied with the work that they did, the crew did to his car. He might have to park it for the night. Although, again, the battle is for the 8th spot here, coming up on right around 10 laps to go or so, Evan. Probably around 12 or 13 to go this time by. Sansone still holding tough, but Graves, what an effort from him. Definitely not the best handling race car, but he's still hanging tough, giving everything he can to Sansone.
And he's going to get real close here off turn 2, about half a car length going into 3. Does he go for anything? Takes a look, can't get it done. He's going to drop back a car length off of Sansone. He's going to dive to the bottom of 4. He's got to run just inches off the back bumper. That 1 of Sansone going into turn number 1 gives them room for now. They're still single file, but that 6 definitely wants one more spot before this thing is done, as Nathan Saxon comes by the stripe and take 11 to go.
Definitely 11 laps to go this time by for leader Nathan Saxon. He's actually getting ready to take the 10 laps to go sign here, coming across the stripe here. He's only a few seconds behind this battle for the 8th and 9th spot here. Graves still holding tough, just can't get that run he needs to get side by side with Sansone, as he does, driving in deep, looks to the low side. Can he get it done? Run by Graves, not going to work this time out of 4. Looking again to the inside of Sansone. Sansone runs that defensive line on the high side, not going to get it done this time through 2.
Definitely trying to make something work, and he's been going at this for a good 20 to 30 laps. That six TJ Graves, so in showing such determination, trying to get any position that he can at the moment. Samuel Dick, second place, still 1.5 seconds up. Oh, and the 6, TJ Graves gets way loose off turn number 2. He's going to spin around. The caution flag will fly at lap 82, and this changes everything.
Oh, how the plot thickens here at the Thompson International Speedway. Coming up on 6 or 7 laps to go here, we will have a green-white checker finish here at the Thompson International Speedway. And something I want to mention to you, Evan, Samuel Dick was closing in on the leader of Nathan Saxon.
He was making up consistent time. Saxon definitely was not running away with it, and this will be interesting. Again, the 6, you've seen the replay right now. Battling with Sansone, just overdrove it, tried to look to the bottom and 2 overcorrected. He actually kept it off the wall, so that 6 car's not torn up. So good job by him, and a disappointing finish, so to speak. After all the determination that he showed, he does lose a lap in the incident because Nathan Saxon was nearly 2 seconds behind him. So let's see what happens now. Nathan Saxon out front, but possibly no longer with the fastest car on track.
Definitely not. I believe Samuel Dick went to pit road. I do not see him in the scoring train anywhere here up front. Yep. Eddie Walchuk, what do you see is going on with the 9 of Sam Dick?
Sam Dick took right side tires, and we got Gerald John in behind him. He's doing the same.
Definitely, but I got to tell you, Eddie, I don't think these guys can get it done on a green-white checker here this late in the race with fresh tires. I just don't think with having 8 cars on the lead lap, I don't think these guys are going to be able to recover.
Yeah, track position is going to be a huge thing. Oh, man, we just had Gerald Johns jump on the binders and get into the wall a little bit there. I'm not sure if it'll hurt the handling of his race car, but those guys are definitely excited.
Definitely, Evan. Mike Morrison is definitely the guy in the catbird seat. Is really going to have to work hard to get around the 2 of Nathan Saxon. Didn't have anything for Nathan Saxon there on that long green flag run. He was over 4.5 seconds back. Do you think we'll see Mike Morrison go for it?
He's definitely going to try to make something work, and with the laps winding down, it'll be interesting to see how they negotiate this. Light's still on the pace cars. We're on lap 87, so if they go off the next time around, it will be a green-white checker. Next flag would end the race. The driver's about to double up, so it looks like we are going to go back to green, and I'll tell you, this is going to be one hell of a finish at the Thompson International Speedway. Nathan Saxon has got to find some way to end up in victory lane at the end of this. We mentioned maybe his car was going away a little bit at the end of that run, and now he's got Michael Morrison right on his right-hand side.
You know, somebody you don't want to count out of this is the 4 of Mike Littlefield. Started in the back and has just been picking off drivers as slow as he can. I'm telling you, he might have something for Nathan Saxon, as the gap between him and Saxon was holding steady for quite some time. It only expanded when Littlefield got caught up behind slower traffic. But the lights are out on the pace car here. Green-white checker time here at Thompson International Speedway. We'll have to see if Nathan Saxon, who's been your race leader all race long, can hold on for the wild finish here we're expecting to see here at Thompson. The pace lights are off on the Ford First Mustang. Pace car speeds up and looks to dive and make that sharp turn into pit road. Saxon looking for the green flag on the hammer. Green flag, green-white checker time.
3 wide mid-pack. Vinny Sansone's going to get turned. 8 car in the wall. Nobody is around. They're wrecking in the back. And now the caution flag will fly. It's over. Nathan Saxon to victory lane. They're still wrecking down the back straightaway. And they're not going to make it to the white flag.
White flag out. All Nathan Saxon has to do is find that pace car and keep it right and slow right behind him. Nathan Saxon will then be able to bring home the victory. Mike Littlefield, what a job by him. He is going to take, the 3rd spot, coming all the way from the 12th starting spot. What a run by Mike.
Yeah, I want to take a look again what happened there, and it all came down to the one. Vinny Sansone just did not have the restart he needed. Not sure if he can get a replay queued up. Sansone finishes in the 6th position, and what happened was on that restart there, he just didn't get the jump that he needed, and that made him 3 wide. The 1 was on the bottom, the 8 car, Gerald John in the middle, and the 3 of, I do believe, Joshua Hahn on that top. They were 3 wide. The 3 just tried to give him as much room as he can, caught the wall, came down into the 8, Sansone got some front end damage. The 8 actually rode the top of the wall, and the caution didn't fly immediately after that. The caution ended up flying for the 8 that actually got stopped on the top of the track because he did not have enough power to that race car to continue. And then another note, the 12 of Jordan Dow got turned after the caution flag flew by Samuel Dick.
Definitely. One thing I do want to point out here is that it looks like the finishing order is changing here on the racetrack. I don't know what's going on with the iRacing scoring, but we're showing right now the winner is Nathan Saxon, and Mike Littlefield improves from third up to second on the order. And Mike Morrison, who should have finished second, is being scored fourth. I don't know if it's an iRacing glitch.
He
but
came
we'll
down
definitely
pit
have to
road
tell.
1 lap too early. Taking a look as the white flag was out, and Saxon came across the stripe to take the checkered flag. I see the 5 of Michael Morrison coming down pit road, and because pit road speed is slower than the base speed, that allowed Littlefield and Samuel Dick to actually pass him on the racetrack. So that could be a possible mistake for the 5, which loses him 2 spots because he was down there on pit road.
Wow, that just goes to show that anything can happen, especially in iRacing. Mike Morrison has got to be dejected with himself as he exits the
I think
server.
he came over the radio and said Mark Martin did too, so now I think that reference makes sense.
Definitely. I feel bad for him. Made a bonehead move and cost himself a runner-up finish here in the strength of field race here for the Tour Modifieds. Nathan Saxon takes home the victory. Mike Littlefield, with the error in judgment by Mike Morrison, comes from 12th all the way to second. What a job by him, and Samuel Dick recovering to third spot after taking 2 tires on pit road in the late stages. Evan, I'm telling you, I think he should have stayed out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and it comes down to maybe the tires would have helped them if they had a couple more laps. With really only 2 laps, would anybody have caught Nathan Saxon? Because Saxon, being the leader, just got such a big jump at the start of that race that, I mean, it really left the other guys with no chance. And that's why that middle of the pack was so chaotic, because if you weren't going to capitalize on 1 and 2, you might have been stuck in that spot for the rest of the race.
Definitely. I'd like to bring in Eddie Walchuk, who's the promoter of this series, the USTRA and Double Clutch Marketing. Eddie, what was your thoughts on tonight's race?
Well, we got to give it to him for running a clean race. There at the end, it's a shame that they worked that hard, and then to have a couple of issues that kind of put us in a position to have we got guys hitting the wall, taking Samuel Dick, he run up against the wall and then took Jordan Dow out, and then Vinny had that restart there at the end that kind of jumbled everybody up, and then Gerald John got in. They went 3 wide. There wasn't a lot of place to go. It's just it's a tough way to finish a race that they worked so hard at. We had a lot of good racing there mid pack there. Saxon checked out early on, but it's a tough way to finish it. But it is what it is. Some days you're the bug, some days you're the windshield.
Definitely. I definitely agree with everything you just said, and I'm telling you, it was kind of a boring race there for a while, and we only had a couple battles on the racetrack. And Evan, I'd like your final thoughts here, but it just wasn't really all that exciting considering just the tight nature of Thompson. And Evan, what are your final thoughts on that?
I mean, it was definitely a great race, such a tough racetrack for these drivers. I love the determination by TJ Graves, really not giving up. And again, another great finish. Unfortunately, we didn't make it back to the white flag. I wish there was some way that we could make these races finish under the green flag. But at the end of the night, great battling. Everybody that came out to support the race here at the Thompson International Speedway got their money worth. And it was definitely a great race for the USTRA Double Clutch Short Track Series on ETV.
Definitely, and coming up tomorrow night is going to be the Silver Crown portion of the next race in the Triple Crown Series. I believe I'm hearing that it's actually the sprint cars tomorrow night. We're showing 9 o'clock tomorrow night here on ETV Channel 1. It's going to be Yep, here are sprint cars on the producer's line into my headset here. Sprint cars tomorrow night, 9 o'clock on Channel 1, and at 9:30, the Asphalt Assault Series Real Sim Racing going to kick off on Channel 2. Okay, folks.
So thank you everybody again for tuning in to ETV's Live, another live broadcast for the USTRA Double Clutch short track series on ETV. Again, make sure to go to etv-eplay.net, take a look at the broadcast calendar, see when we're on the air next. We have a lot of great radio shows and good broadcasts throughout the week, so make sure you guys tune in and hopefully try to go out and support your local racetrack and maybe try out some short track racing on iRacing. For everybody up here in the booth, Eddie Walczyk joining us. Thanks for coming up here. JD Webb, Laura Lawson down in the production holler, Justin Rosen. Also, my name is Evan Pasilko. Good night, and we'll see you next time at the racetrack.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Drivers, start your engines!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4, and the checkered flag, he wins his first NASCAR iRacing